What's up, my beautiful people? In today's podcast, episode number 5 of the Undiagnosed Shamans, we discussed Midwest Shamans Conference. Give a couple of shout outs to some of our favorite podcasts, including the Huberman Lab and Dr. Kendra Campbell. We talked about mermaids as well, randomly. Talked about Cleveland Proper Man, Easter eggs and reality. We talked about our IG account that we recently created. We also talked about our experiences with inpatient units and hospitals. 3, 2, 1. All right, man, we're live on Undiagnosed Shamans, episode 5. I'm Alberto.
I'm Mark.
So it's been a couple weeks since our last podcast, huh?
Yeah, we keep getting guests that don't show up.
Yeah, well, we're
unfortunately
still brand new, right?
Yeah. But Steve Wicklaw, he showed up.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man.
Episode 3.
You guys should check out episode 3, shameless plug.
For the movie Found?
Found, yeah.
Yeah, he's making a movie.
Have you talked to him since the podcast?
Not really, no. I gotta still donate to his cause. I forgot to do that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I want to donate some money to that movie. Short.
So what do we got on the agenda today?
I want to do a shout out to Cleveland Proper Man, which is my alter ego. You can find me on YouTube under Cleveland Proper Man. A couple episodes of that on there.
We'll share the link on the description.
Yeah, let's do that. And also wanted to mention the Midwest Shamans Conference. I don't know if they do it every year, but it's June 6th through June 9th. And it's very affordable, and you can go to MidwestShamansConference.com for more information.
Very cool.
Yeah. Also wanted to mention a couple podcasts that I like. First one's called Awakening Code Radio. I've been listening to that for about 6 or 7 years now. It's really, really good if you're into 1111 and all that stuff. And then also the Andrew Huberman Lab podcast. He's really good. He does a different topic, every week, would you say? Or more than once a week?
I actually don't know the frequency of what he posts, but he does post very, very regularly. Very, very frequently, so It's a lot of good information.
He's a Stanford professor in neurology or something like
Neuroscience
that.
And ophthalmology, I believe. I watch this stuff a lot too.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Then another shout out to Dr. Kendra Campbell. She's into holistic psychiatry and does free range psychiatry as her. That's her?
Yeah, she's founder
Instagram handle.
Yeah, free range actually is Dr. at Dr. Kendra, MD. She's founder of Free Range Psychiatry, which is a holistic psychiatry practice, and I'm personally very inspired by her works, and definitely want to send people out her way. She's doing a lot of good work, and it's definitely worth mentioning.
I've watched a few of her videos, and she's pretty good about getting people off of long-term mental health medications. That's like her thing, right?
I would say her thing is more about finding the root causes of mental illness and dealing with things from the source rather than masking it with medication, which medications just tend to treat the symptoms. She's trying to treat the cause.
Okay.
And she does a lot of work, from what I see, with like vitamins and other types of like maybe more holistic type of medicines, and other kind of therapies as well. That's not necessarily something you intake, but it might be worthwhile getting in touch with her at some point and kind of asking more questions.
Yeah. Dude, I wanted to tell you, like, I have woodworm growing at my house that was just naturally there. I think somebody planted it before we moved in.
I mean,
wormwood. Did I say wormwood?
Yeah, you said woodworm.
Woodworm. So wormwood, yeah. And also I found out yesterday that I have horsetail, which is another herb growing like wildly outside the house.
That's cool. So, you can make a tea out of it or something?
Yeah, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can make a tincture, all kinds of stuff out of it.
What is a tincture anyway?
It's like when you take an herb and you soak it in either alcohol or like an oil or
Okay.
distilled water, and sometimes you got to boil it. But
Interesting.
I made my own hair tonic out of
Cool.
rosemary water.
Awesome.
I mean, rosemary, you boil it for like 20 minutes and then it turns like blood red, and then it stays that color and it never goes bad in the container that I had it in.
What does it do?
Helps you like either maintain your hair or grow new hair.
I definitely need some more hair.
Dude, you have a good head of hair. Jellies. So this is a question for you, Alberto. If we're living in a holographic universe, do you think there's Easter eggs in our reality? If this is kind of like just a giant virtual reality video game, do you think whoever made this created Easter eggs that we're supposed to find? Or-
Well, I would say for our audience, define what you mean by Easter eggs.
Can you define it? Because I only know it from like Nintendo.
Yeah, so I would say like, maybe either an item or a reference of some sort to a different reality or a different maybe timeline.
Like a portal?
Yeah, like maybe something that was from some other time or some other reality that's somehow embedded in our current world where we're at right now on this planet.
Nice.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah, like something you would. Well, I also look at it as divine intervention. Like, say you wake up in the morning and you're like, today I want to see a eagle feather, and to know that I'm connected to the divine or the spiritual realm. And then you end up seeing an eagle feather at some point during that day, and that's like confirmation that they're listening to you.
Yeah.
You know, and you're hooked into that.
Okay.
That's kind of like an Easter egg, but not.
I tend to be really analytical when it comes to stuff. So I would never set out the intention, like I want to see this because I want to feel like I'm connected to this kind of thing, because that invites confirmation bias. I would rather just say like God, source, like Lord, whatever you may however you spiritually connect to on a higher level of being. Just show me that you're here with me, and just let whatever may come your way, because I know you'll know when you see it.
Yeah.
Like you just be like, this is exactly what I was looking for. Like this is them speaking to me. I know it deeply, and it could be anything. So I mean, you could say that's an Easter egg, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that's an Easter egg?
Yeah,
type of
yeah,
thing?
yeah.
Okay.
I also ran into a Christmas mushroom in Atlanta one time when I was down there.
Oh yeah.
At a parking lot of the Waffle House.
No way.
It was, white stem, red button, and then white spots on it.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It was the one from Nintendo, Super Mario Bros.
The things are legendary.
Yeah. I didn't pick it,
No.
by the way. I felt like somebody else should do that.
I wonder if that has any connection to like elemental energies, like earth energy.
Yeah.
It seems to be like it's
Comes from the earth.
tied to like gnomes and other type of elemental beings.
Do you believe in like little gnomes running around the forest and?
Yeah, I think
like that?
elemental spirits are very real. For sure. I think so. I mean, just from my own personal practice, there's sylphs for the air spirits,
Like fairies.
There's undines for
leprechauns.
I think these are all earth elemental spirits.
Yeah.
Gnomes, undines are the water, and then the salamanders are the fire elements.
Okay.
Um,
Have you ever seen elemental spirit?
Thankfully, I have not. I don't think these are the type of things that you really want to encounter, if that makes sense. Just because, from what I've read, they tend to be tricksters.
Oh.
And even like fairies and stuff like that, tend to be like the fae tend to be tricksters, and you may not know what you're dealing with, if they're like benevolent or not, and you really want to kind of just be careful around folks like the kind of being.
Yeah.
Um,
I saw an Instagram video last night about mermaids.
yeah.
So this guy's on a ship, right? And he hears like the mermaid siren music that they play.
Yeah.
That they whatever sing or whatever. And then they showed like what looked like mermaid like next to the boat, like going at the boat's speed but underwater. and you could
Sure.
sort of make it out, but you couldn't really tell if it's like a fish or whatever. But it could have been a fake video, but the guy was like flipping out.
Mermaids?
Think mermaids exist?
I think, as far as ocean life, I think there are things that we have not discovered yet. Whether that's intelligent, as far as like a mermaid, I don't know. I do think that life like whales and dolphins and stuff tend to be very intelligent and maybe, just as intelligent as we are. And they speak in frequencies, kind of like a very divine being kind of thing. But
what's with orcas knocking over boats, dude? What's that all about?
I see weird things on TikTok about like some sort of weird anomaly in the ocean that's like freaking out all the animals, all like the ocean life.
Oh, like Navy, like special ops stuff where they're playing certain tones underwater.
Some weird stuff is going on. I don't know what it was about.
Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows if that stuff is true or real or any kind of accurate at all.
They say a lot of beached whales are like from, like if there's a mass beach whale or whatever they call it, whale beaching thing, that's from the Navy or doing some kind of underwater frequency thing that the whales can't stand hearing, and then they just beach themselves.
It's probably like a perpetual, like somebody scratching the chalkboard kind of thing.
Yeah, and it just drives them mad.
Speaking of chalkboard, that's a random side comment. Do you think kids nowadays are like hip to this chalkboard like scratch? Everybody's using like smart boards and blackboards and stuff as far as like internet.
Yeah.
Are they hip to the chalkboard scratch?
I think they need to clean the chalkboards like we did when we were kids, man.
Really?
It shows you some, some good effort as a school kid cleaning the chalkboard every day.
Do schools even have chalkboards anymore?
No, they probably don't. But the kids should learn it, like as like on a little mini chalkboard, maybe just like clean it every day.
That's my random comment for the podcast today.
It's pretty random, dude.
But anyway, I think Easter eggs, as far as what you're saying, I think God has a huge sense of humor, a very beautiful sense of humor, and I think if you're open to that kind of thing, you'll find stuff like that in everyday life.
Yeah,
and it can be beautiful. You have to be perceptive to it.
I gave my Messiah complex talk to Imposters Theater in Cleveland. A couple weeks ago. We'll maybe include a little snippet of it in here.
Sure.
Later in post-production, and maybe people can. I don't know if I'm gonna, put the whole thing up on YouTube or not, but I probably have to edit it down a little bit.
Okay.
It's a little dry at times, but
you can probably edit out the parts you like and make like a 20-second clip out of it.
Yeah. And maybe get some public speaking gigs out of it. Who knows?
Could.
Yeah. Dude, are we going to join the MAD movement or what?
You gotta let me know what the MAD movement is. I don't know what it is.
It's like MAD Pride. It's like people like us that have mental health conditions are trying to change how people view like words like crazy and stuff. Like we re-own those words and try to flip them into a positive somehow. I don't really know a whole lot about the MAD movement, but I feel like it's resonating with me a little bit. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I'll have to learn more about it. I will say, though, the word crazy to me, I know a lot of people have a hard time with this word, and I understand why people will be like, hey, man, that's not a cool word to use when you're in this type of field, or mental health treatment, therapy, and all that stuff. But I think the word is so used with everything. It can be used to describe something awesome. It can be used to describe something bad. It can be used to describe something bewildering. It's just an all-purpose word at this point that I don't really care if somebody calls, like, oh, this is a crazy good burger. Like, how am I supposed to be this stigmatizing? It's a burger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's all about context. If somebody calls you, if your doctor calls you crazy because you're hearing voices, that's not good. Right?
Yeah.
But if you're like, man, this is a crazy good movie, who am I to say like that's like good, that's a stigmatizing thing or not? I think it's really irrelevant at that point.
There's a burrito place in Chesterland that had crazy corn, dude. I don't know how I feel about that.
Dude, that's stigmatizing.
It's pushing it.
Yeah. I should go in there and like yell at them in Spanish.
I think it might have been crazy with a K too.
Oh, that makes it okay then.
It makes it okay.
Because it's that with the C, which means it's not.
It's not a hard C.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, that's funny.
Now it's not using the same word. That's a different word now.
Crazy with a K. So, dude, our IG account got
It got
shut
hacked,
down.
bro.
Got shut down. We don't even have any active stuff going on there, and it got shut down and then reopened.
Yeah, our IG, I guess I made it and then I forgot about it, and it got flagged as a bot potentially, and I had to do all this stuff to like get it to be reactivated. And then I've never seen this before, but Instagram actually sent a little apology, like
we should read the
apology. Prompt. I've never seen an apology prompt by any website ever.
Yeah.
But our Instagram should be tagged in our description as well that we just started today. Well, after this debacle, but it's up finally.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. We got 11 subscribers on our YouTube account, so shout out to all of them,
all the homies,
all the good subscribers, and we got 174 views with 4 episodes, which I think is killer. We've only been out there for, 2 months at the most?
I would say a little under 2 months, yeah.
Under 2 months. And then we have 12.6 hours of listening time on those 4 episodes,
yeah,
so that's amazing.
Wonderful.
There are only, 30, and we average, about 30 minutes an episode at the most?
Yeah. It's about a 4 to 6 minute listening average time per episode, which is a good amount of listening time comparative to, a song or any kind of... People's attention span nowadays are so short that asking for more than a minute of attention is pretty incredible.
Yeah. I want to thank all of those folks. I mean, I really feel humbled that we're getting some traction, and we haven't even got on Apple Podcasts yet or any of the other platforms.
We have done zero marketing, and we're already picking up speed, which is amazing.
YouTube is where it's at.
For podcasts, I suppose. I personally want to thank everybody as well for listening in and taking something from our words and our life experiences and this working in this field of peer support, and kind of surfing both sides of the desk. We've been on the patient side, and we've been on the provider side, and we kind of know both sides, and not every discipline can say that.
Yeah. I think I might start getting into homeless outreach. I'm going to look for a job in that field because that really resonates with me nowadays. Just helping people get off of this, if they're living in a situation. Well, there's some homeless people that literally want to live that way. And then there's probably the majority don't want to live that way. And I want to help those folks. It's a beautiful kind of cold spring day.
Yeah, it feels like it's in the 50s a little bit, and it's kind of windy, and we're shooting this video on the 5th story of my apartment building in my apartment, and I had this giant maple tree in front of my balcony, and it's just swaying in the wind. It's gorgeous.
Dude, oh, go ahead.
Oh, it's 6:30 p.m. and it's sunset, and it's just a great vibe right now. All I got to do is put on some Bruno Mars or something and just vibe and just chill out.
One of the times I was in a BH unit, dude, for a longer stay, maybe a week and a half or a week, I made this sign. I thought the CIA was after me, and I thought Mark Zuckerberg was also listening in on me or something.
Yeah.
So I made the sign that said, I'm here in peace or something.
Okay.
I'm here not to do damage. I'm here for good. And I wrote that in a sign. And I put it in my window at my BH unit room.
Yeah.
And I thought the CIA was had a sniper fixed on me or something. And I was trying to communicate with them through these little signages.
Huh.
I'm here for peace or something like that. Yeah.
Dude, tell us your hunger strike story.
Oh, so the same facility, same stay. I noticed the staff was not up to par, and some of them were kind of power trippy, and they used to during snack time or something, they would just be very mean, and I couldn't take it anymore. So I told the staff, the ones that were a little better, I told them I was on a hunger strike because I wanted the staff that wasn't good to get like some kind of training to be better at their jobs. And I think I went for a full day without eating, and then they kind of said they were going to do a training program for those staff, and I was like, yes,
got him.
So that was like a big. I can't believe you remember that. I barely remember that.
I was there for that. I was.
You came and
I visited
me?
you that day.
Yeah.
I spent like maybe 2 hours at the unit with you.
Yeah.
I even ate lunch with. I didn't eat lunch, but you guys ate lunch, and I was there, and you were like, you know what, dude, I'm going to hunger strike. These people are just so mean to me, and they're mean to other clients in this floor, and I'm done with it. I was actually pretty touched by that whole thing, because like it's very rare for me to see like people in that vulnerable of a position of, you know, push back against something that's almost like a tyrannical force.
Yeah. They shut the whole unit down because I like, flipped out one day.
Oh, yeah?
On another... Well, this guy was like harassing me, so I like wouldn't stand for it. So I ripped my shirt off. Not that I'm like Steven Seagal or something. Or no, that's Steven Seagal. Like Rocky shape or anything. But I was ready to go. I was like, dude, I'm not standing for this. And I ripped my shirt off and I was like, right, let's go. And they shut down the whole unit. They kicked me in my back, or they put me in like a seclusion room, and the good dude didn't mess with me after that though. So
you're like Conor McGregor up in there, like come get it.
Like you get that manic,
the agitation.
Yeah, you get the agitation, and you get that energy. Dude, that is you can't mess with that.
That is a scary place to be.
Yeah, it's like
there was this one time that I was such a bad shape that I had that kind of what you're saying, the agitation, and you're like depressed, but you're still like super energized at the same time.
Yeah.
I think the technical term is called a mixed episode.
Okay.
I was telling my friend that I lived with at the time, I was like, you know what? Tonight I'm going to go to a bar, I'm just going to pick a fight with anybody, and I want to just be angry and violent, and it's a really scary thing to... It's a scary place to be.
Did you end up going out to the bar?
I think I ended up actually moving out and moving back in with my family and trying to get better and all that stuff. So nothing bad happened, thankfully.
Yeah,
but you're not really in control when you're in that position, and not a lot of people maybe know about that kind of that side of bipolar disorder.
Yeah,
you're like not in a good place, but you're not. Usually, when you're depressed, you can't really do much because you're so energyless. But when you're in that kind of middle ground, you're like ready to go, but also in a very dark place at the same time.
Yeah.
That's when the stuff like that happens. And
should I tell my quick story about how I broke out of the unit the one time in 2014?
Story?
Yeah,
we need to hear the 2B story.
All right, so I was staying at this place that we won't discuss the actual name of the hospital, but I was in the 2B unit.
Literally the letter
the 2B. And I wanted to write a book called 2B or Not 2B. And I was getting harassed by this one dude that was like bigger than me, and he just picked me and wanted to like fight or something like that. So I told the staff, you got to move me or him off the unit, and I was already in the acute unit, so there wasn't a lot they could do. They decided not to move him. They decided not to move me. So I thought I had to get out of there. So I took my bed and I rolled it in the hallway. It had wheels on it. It was like one of those beds that has air bladders in it, and they inflate and deflate, and it's really comfortable when you're sleeping on it. Man. It's like really nice. And I ran it down the hallway, and I took out 2 sets of double doors, and I escaped from the unit in about like 2 seconds, and then a mental health tech caught up to me. I think she got fired too because she was chasing me down the hallway, but she didn't get to me in time. Yeah. For me to take out the double doors, and I think she got canned after that. I didn't see her after that one day.
Why? I don't understand.
I feel bad that I probably got her canned,
dude,
but like
it's not her fault. She can't run that fast. Like,
right?
What is? How is that your fault?
Mania, like.
How's that anybody's fault?
Jamaican bobsled kind of like pushing the thing down.
What's she gonna do? She's gonna catch you? She's gonna stop the whole bed from moving? That makes no sense.
I remember like maneuvering into the hallway and thinking like this is like the most insane thing I've ever done.
Yes, You told me some actually a little bit wilder stories. And the Jacobs Field one was pretty good.
Yeah, I ran the bases at Jacobs Field when it was closed down during the MLB strike of 1994.
That's pretty good, dude.
Yeah, I scaled the fence and then I called my buddy from the payphone in like the section 151.
That's funny.
Which is near home plate, and then I rescaled the fence and my brother-in-law picked me up and drove me home.
Hey, you gotta tell us what 2B means. You forgot that part of the story.
2B was the unit.
Didn't you say you like wrote 2B on the bed or something with pencil?
Oh, I don't remember.
You told me that you wrote 2B or not to be on the actual bed itself on the frame.
Oh, I did. I probably did that.
And then they used that same bed to bulldoze
your way out of the unit.
Oh my god.
I had 24-hour security on me after that, and they tried to like kick me out early, but my doctor was like, no, he needs real help here, and
makes sense.
They were able to let me, but they threw my mattress on. They threw like this thin mattress on the floor, and they're like, that's where you're gonna.
Oh, that's shicey.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
What's that?
About I've never been hospitalized myself, and there are cultural reasons for that, I believe, which we won't get into today's episode. But it seems like there seems to be a trend in your hospital stays where you have somebody like kind of bully you. Is that common?
I think it depends if you're in an acute unit or not. I think more of that occurs in the acute units.
Okay.
I had a beef with staff one time at another hospital, and we actually got into it. Like I remember he had me on the floor. And there was other staff around him, but he was like had me like down on the ground, and my head was up off the floor, and then he took my head and slammed it into the floor, which I thought was like total, like, you know, one of the worst bad thing you can do to somebody who's already been like, I couldn't move.
Sure.
And he just did that like as a hey, like, look at me, I'm stronger. But they ended up having, I heard about this recently when I did a CIT speech thing, that they recently after that stay that I had there, they ended up teaching all the staff, like, because they had a lot of staff that weren't doing the right things. And
sure.
They didn't have that mental health tech kind of vibe that you need to have, the patience and consideration and all that, all those nice words. So they ended up having like this teaching moment from that, which I was kind of impressed that I triggered, even though it was a bad scene.
Yeah.
Like, I ended up removing the camera out of the ceiling and throwing it at the nurses' station over and over again in a manic rage that I was in. Luckily, it was plexiglass, so it just kept like bouncing off. But they eventually called the canine unit.
Okay.
From the local police, and I don't remember this, but that's what the guy told me that was at the CIT thing recently. He said they brought in a dog, and I just like calmed down after that.
They brought in the dog just so you guys competed or something?
No, to like
intimidate
to
you guys?
Scare me or something, and it worked. Yeah.
You know what though? It really seems to me that a lot of bad things happen, and like people that go there for healing and for like respite tend to just struggle with just different stuff rather than what they're already struggling with. They just seem to like just either suffer in a different way and in a different kind of way, like either being restrained in some inhumane way, or maybe being given medications to sedate them that not really they're not being treated for, how can I say this? It seems like they're there and they suffer differently. Not necessarily decreased suffering, just different kind of suffering. To me, hospital stay always meant that I was gonna like endure some other kind of pain. That's why I've never like really been apt to want to go in an inpatient stay, even though I probably really needed it. I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to have to deal with people anymore. I'm just going to chill out and not just sleep for several weeks, like straight. It's really scary.
Sleep it off.
Yeah, it's, I don't know why I have this sense of like, almost like danger from inpatient stays. I just hear so many horror stories of people like what you're saying just now, of like getting like injured or harassed and stuff like that, and it's just like, not even worth it. And just to get medication cycled through me until something sticks, and then they sent home. It just it seems like it doesn't seem like it's really touching on why I felt the way I felt, and doesn't really seem to be honing in on the illness, or it's rather like putting me in a place where they can medicate me enough to just not be in crisis anymore, basically. What do you think?
This through line reminds me of when I was in the hospital, and I lost my train of thought now. It was one of my hospitalizations, though. That I've been hospitalized, I think, a dozen times now, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So they're not always. Here's what I remember now. So in 1995, I was at the hospital, inpatient behavioral unit for, I think it was like 2 weeks. It was a week, and they let me out, and then I was back in the next day because I was still manic.
Okay.
But one of the patients was put in restraints, and I thought it was against her will, and like it wasn't cool that they were doing that at all, and she was in restraints, and so I did a sit-in in front of her room, where I sat on the floor and I didn't move, and they eventually made me move by picking me up, and I would still have my legs crossed, like as if I was in a meditative or sitting down position. And they picked me up like that, and I have my legs crossed, and they throw me in a room, and they put me in restraints and give me a sedative, and they're like, "We have to do this. You're not cooperating." But that was the 90s, so I'm kind of glad like things are different now. Yeah. They don't usually resort to restraints much.
They put you in restraint and isolation just because you were not cooperative.
It's ridiculous.
Think about that. If you do not comply, we're putting you in isolation and restraints. Like, that
makes no sense.
It makes sense to a tyrant.
Yeah.
Do you think these people that run these clinics are kind of power tripping sometimes?
Some of them do have power trips. Yeah, I wish they would just go do something else and get another occupation. But
wow.
Sometimes it was bad in the 90s, man. Like I was in restraints, and I was being fed by the nurses.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't, obviously couldn't when you got your hands and your chest and your legs all, hooked up to the bed. And I remember just like berating them as they were feeding me, like just like because I couldn't stand the power trippy thing they were doing with me.
Sure.
And then people would walk by my room, and I couldn't communicate with them. So I just flicked them off because I was like angry that I was in restraints, and they would flick me off back. And then once I got out of restraints, I had to go talk to the people I've been flicking off all week.
Yeah.
Or for a couple of days anyway. So, I don't know. Funny stories. Shout out to your cat, dude.
Hi, kitty. She's a cute little kitty. Thanks for joining our podcast tonight. I hope you guys enjoy it just as much as we enjoy making it for you. Stay frosty out there, folks. It's winter. Well, it's anti-winter. It's summertime.